The worst thing that can happen to you when you're on your way to go pick something up when you're pulling a trailer is getting a flat tire. Last week I experienced that issue, and unfortunately I didn't have my spare tire rack installed on there, so I had to leave my trailer behind and run back and get myself another tire. Today we're gonna resolve that issue, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a spare tire holder onto this trailer, and we're gonna mount a spare tire permanently onto this trailer so I don't have that issue anymore. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to do it. So what you get with this kit is your rack, and then the two other portions of the rack that clamp it to the tongue of the trailer. You get the bolts to clamp the tongue down, and they even give you two, if you want to call it, lug nuts that go into the bracket to hold your trailer tire on there. When we talk about spare tires, I would rather have the spare tire that mounts to the tongue instead of anything that's going to go in the back of my trailer to take up the capacity of the trailer. There are other ways to do it, but this I just like to have it on the outside, so I'm not taking up any of that capacity that I actually want when I'm pulling a trailer. So let's go ahead and figure out where we want to put this and get this installed. To mount this plate, the side with the squares is with the side that the tire is going to bolt to. So that makes this the side that gets bolted to the tongue. I have to be mindful on mine on which way I put the bolts in. If I were to put the bolts in this way, it's going to stick out too far and I'm going to hit that arm. So I'm going to mount them just the opposite. Doesn't really make a difference which way it's going. The one thing you do want to be cautious on is that those holes are drilled specifically. The two on top, and then there's a bigger gap, and then there's four on the bottom. So that's the top, and the bracket has the same way. So make sure you match them up so it does that. Because believe it or not, you can go ahead and do it like this, but then those bottom holes don't match up right. So the brackets and brackets match. I'm going to use the top hole on this. Like I said, two up top, and then I'm going to go through it like that. That's how my top one is going to mount. I'm going to go ahead and get the nut and the washer on. Orientation for the hardware. Just get this on. Washer on the bolt end. Lock washer on the nut end. So now for the bottom one, just pick the first available hole. This one doesn't work, so that one does work. Then feed it all the way through to the other side. It doesn't have to completely match the frame. It's just a clamping pressure on here. So that side's on. Let's go ahead and get the other bracket on. I have the top part as close to the tongue as possible. If I didn't have this on here and I was just laying this on the ground and I didn't want it laying on this bracket, I would simply have just reversed it. I would have used the bottom hole here, and then that would have been as flush as possible, and it wouldn't have had as much of that frame digging in. That just meant I would have had more frame sticking up here, but since I got this and I hardly ever lay it down on the tongue, I'd rather have it this way, have the extra laying down. So let's go ahead and get it tightened down. I want it as close to the jack here as possible, so I don't have, my tire will probably come out to right there. That way it's not going to be hitting the trailer here. So go ahead and tighten these down. Snug them down evenly to start with. Mount it nice and secure. Let's get the tire mounted on to the bracket. All right, so we'll get the tire mounted. What's kind of funny about this installation is when you get it, they actually give you a flat washer and a lock washer to mount your tire on here. But then they give you actual lug nuts. That concave on that lug nut is meant to fit right in there like it was mounted onto your car. The back side of these have a hex on there to fit right into the bracket so it can't spin. In other words, it makes the two washers useless. You can't put them on anywhere because you don't want to be crushing your wheel with a flat washer on there because these don't have washers. So I'm not going to use the two. I'm just going to mount it on there just like that. And so I'm thinking this one I'm going to need this side one. You have the option for different size tires. It has these two top ones. With mine, you can see that I could go straight up and down, or I could use these two. If I go straight up and down, it's going to push that tire back a little bit further, and I don't really want that. I want the tire forward. So if I use these two, it'll bring it a little bit more further forward. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get this one mounted right away. Get my other lug nut put in there. There. Go ahead and get that tightened up. Installed. Tire's now mounted to it. I'm ready for my next flat tire now. While we have it here, let's go ahead and see if I can fold that up. Yep, it's gonna clear it just fine. You can see I have plenty of clearance there. This is an extremely simple repair to give you a decent option of carrying your spare tire on your trailer with you without taking up that valuable load space that's in the back of your trailer. Really easy fix. You can get these at many places, but it's also the perfect way to transport your spare tire when you're out on the go. I want to thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you don't get a flat tire on the road. I believe it's probably going to happen to everybody. So with that said, please like and subscribe and follow the channel. We got a lot more great videos coming up. And until then, enjoy.